All right, I'm sorry about that, folks. It seems for those of you watching the replay, I was trying to I was trying to play a video, but I guess I got copyright strike, and they kicked me off. But we won't play that video. You guys got the idea. Those of you who've been in chat, those of you who've been watching, you guys understand what this video is about. And like I said, if this is something that triggers you, it definitely gets under my skin. Um, but there's definitely a trigger warning here because this is a very, very sensitive subject, and it. Yeah, I'm not. I don't have mixed feelings about it. I want to be very clear about that. There are absolutely no mixed feelings that I have about this subject whatsoever. I feel perfectly comfortable about how I feel about it. And I'm just trying to figure out a way to word it in an informative way without letting my emotions get the best of me as I try to explain it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the chat one more time real quick. I'm going to say hello to everyone. And let's see what we got here. We got Tara Lee. Yes, I'm back. Mignon, again, I apologize for the little inconvenience, but I'm getting the hang of this. Normally, when this happens, it takes me a little while longer to like get everything together and get back on here. But I got back on here relatively fast, so I'm glad you guys didn't have to wait too long. Although I do apologize for the inconvenience and the interruption. Mignon, hey, Bang Bang Kiss Kiss 007, Wicked Witch, Hope Addis, Caleb, my man, Mimi J2, Desert Flower, hello, Catherine Summers, how are you doing? See, Mexi, Mexi, I'm sorry I did not catch your live with Save Robbie. I missed it. I'm sorry. I did not get a notification. I was at work in my defense, but normally I could check out live streams while I'm at work. But unfortunately, I did not get a notification, and I was busy at work, and I completely and totally forgot. I'm so sorry about that. I really, really meant to catch it. But from what I was seeing in the chat prior to getting booted off here, it was good. Everybody seemed to enjoy it, so I'm really glad. And I have no doubt in my mind that it was a good live stream. I have all the faith in the world that you're going to do very, very well. And so, CMI, count me in. Thank you for clearing up what CMI means. I appreciate that. We all do. So before I get into this subject, let's kick this off a different way. So before I get into this subject and before I get deep into it, I want to remind everyone, and I'm not even sure what time, but 10 to Life, my new YouTube friend, she will be going on. Her name is Annie. She will be going on live tomorrow, I believe. We've got some interesting things in the works, her and I. So I will be sure to keep you guys posted on that. So yeah, she's for those of you who have subscribed to her channel, I appreciate that. And she definitely appreciates it. Her and I have been exchanging emails and communicating, and she is full of gratitude, to say the least, as to the support that she's been getting from my listeners. And so do yourself a favor, make sure to subscribe to her, and this way you get a notification for when she goes live tomorrow. I don't know what her subject is going to be actually tomorrow, Caleb, but but yeah, she's she's very informative, as you guys know. If you guys have checked out her channel and checked out any of her replays, you can see that she's taking to this like a duck in water, and she's doing really, really well. And yeah, she knows, she's a lot better at promoting herself than I am. That's for sure. I'm not big on social media, man. I'm not real. I mean, I'm 10 years behind. I'm still getting in Facebook fights with people, and that's about as far as I go. My Instagram has like 15 followers, but so I'm not the best at promoting myself and utilizing social media to do that. So let's see. Yeah, Rosalind, she is good, man. She is good. So yeah, guys, make sure, like I said, make sure to subscribe to her. If I could get, there we go, Rosalind. I love it. Thank you so much for dropping. Rosalind has dropped the link to her channel, so please make sure that if you are not subscribed to her, you do so, and make sure to ring that bell so you get notifications. So let's see. Yeah, and I have a Twitter, and I think I have like 2 followers, like 1 listener and Colton Harris Moore, which which is pretty awesome, considering. But those are like my only 2 followers, I think, and I never really check Twitter. So I'm not a tweeter. So anyway, so we've got this interesting subject, and it's the kind of subject that everyone kind of talks about. Everyone seems to talk about. I see it all over my Facebook, and it's something that is being talked about just back and forth. It seems to be the elephant in the room that nobody's talking about, but at the same time, everyone's talking about the fact that there is an elephant in the room and nobody's talking about it. So that's an issue, and I'm going to talk about it tonight. And it's something that really, really gets on my nerves. It's something that really, really gets under my skin. And I think a big reason why a lot of people don't feel comfortable talking about it is because it's a disgusting concept. Most of us here are parents. Most of us here have nieces or nephews, or we have children in our lives that we care about, and in lieu of the Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell situation that's happening right now, this is something that people are really disgusted by. People want justice. People want to prevent these things from happening. And unfortunately, these things are not right. Rosalind, I'm in agreement with you there. I'm in agreement with you here. I'm of the opinion that this shouldn't even be a question. I almost regret titling this the way that I did, because that's what they're calling it. They're calling it. It's almost a way of justifying something that is a crime, and there's a good, solid reason as to why this is a crime, is because it involves a victim. Not only is it a crime, but it involves victims. People are victimized, and these victims are children, and they're also the families of these children who have to nurture these children back towards living a normal life, growing up as unaffected as possible as they can be, which is impossible to grow up unaffected, to grow up without scars. And so what we've got going on here is an entire subculture of people. And there's a possibility that this subculture of people, like I said, in lieu of the Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell situation that we've got going on, that's all over the news. In lieu of that, it's possible that there are very, very powerful people that are high up in this subculture, and the press doesn't seem to be talking about it. The press is talking about COVID-19, which, okay, fine. We're not going to get into the entire COVID-19 and controversy of whether or not we should be as worried about it as we should, blah, blah, blah. But there are other things such as this, which has become a problem. And it's always been a problem. To say the least. It's always been a problem. I worded that wrong. Of course, it's not becoming a problem, or it has just become a problem. It has been a problem for a very, very long time. But the problem, one of the biggest problems with it is nobody's doing anything about it, it seems. It seems as though it's one of those things that unless somebody has already been victimized, there's nothing else you can do about it. And then usually it's somebody's word against another. And how credible is a child's word? And so, we have parents accused of coaching, and I don't doubt that happens. I honestly don't doubt that this takes place. People accuse people of rape all the time just to hurt them. It happens, but it doesn't mean that this issue is not a problem in our society. And these things, I think we can all agree that, in the words of Whitney Houston, the children are our future. It is they hold the world in their hands. They hold our future in their hands. That is a fact. That is something, that is a beautiful thing about the purity of a good relationship, of a healthy relationship between adults and children, is that they hold our future in their hands and we hold their future in our hands. And something needs to be done about it. And this is an issue that I think needs a lot more attention than it's getting. So I'm going to do the best I can to put in my 2 cents when it comes to this stuff tonight. Now, I'm going to share with you something here. There is an organization called NAMBLA, and it stands for the North American Man-Boy Love Association. And Jesus Christ, I have to sanitize my hands, having just touched my computer, hearing those words and having to say them out loud. I feel like spitting on the ground right now. And I'm going to read. There is a website for this. And I'm going to read, as a matter of fact, I'm going to share the screen so that you guys can see. And I had to actually, it was very strange. I don't know if it's relevant, but I pulled it up on my phone when someone posted this on Facebook. Yeah, Rosalind, I don't give a shit whether it's a bit different or not. I'm not attacking you here or anything, but I don't care. It's all disgusting as far as I'm concerned. So Give me a second. My computer is doing something here. All right. So, again, I'm going to share the screen here so that you guys can see what I'm reading. All right. You guys see that okay? All right. So, yes, Caleb, you're absolutely right about that. Members of that organization have no shame in telling publicly their desires for having sex with children. The fact that they have the audacity to try to justify their desires of having sex with children as some sort of sexual orientation that should be included with being homosexual, heterosexual, being a lesbian, being a transsexual, or whatever. Those are identities. I mean, sorry about that. I didn't mean to sound ignorant there. But I'm going to go ahead and read this. This is the introduction page to NAMBLA's website. And it says, the North American Man-Boy Love Association, NAMBLA, was formed in 1978. It was inspired by the success of a campaign based in Boston's gay community to defend against a local witch hunt. Now, that pisses me off. That pisses me off because to lump this up with the gay community is completely and totally unfair. Completely different things. Absolutely, totally different things. It's not even apples and oranges. It's apples and tires. It makes no sense. So to lump themselves up with the gay community makes me sick. So NAMBLA's goal is to end the extreme oppression of men and boys in mutually consensual relationships by building understanding and support for each other's relationships, educating the general public on the benevolent nature of man-boy love, cooperating with lesbian, gay, feminist, and other liberation movements, supporting the liberation of persons of all ages from sexual prejudice and oppression. Our membership is open to everyone sympathetic to man-boy love and personal freedom. NAMBLA calls for the empowerment of youth in all areas, not just the sexual. We support, we support greater economic, political, and social opportunities for young people and denounce the rampant ageism that segregates and isolates them in fear and mistrust. We believe sexual feelings are a positive life force. We support the rights of youth as well as adults to choose the partners with whom they wish to share and enjoy their bodies. This gets more disgusting the more I read. Jesus. We condemn sexual abuse and all forms of coercion. Unreal. Freely chosen relationships differ from unwanted sex. Present laws, which focus only on the age of the participants, ignore the quality of their relationships. We know that differences in age do not preclude mutual loving interaction between persons. NAMBLA is strongly opposed to age of consent laws and all other restrictions which deny men and boys the full enjoyment of their bodies and control over their own lives. NAMBLA does not provide encouragement, referrals, or assistance for people seeking sexual contacts. NAMBLA does not engage in any activities that violate the law, nor do we advocate that anyone else should do so. That's clearly just some bullshit disclaimer to try to keep the cops from, or keep law enforcement from knocking on their door, which is pathetic. We call for fundamental reform of the laws regarding relations between youths and adults. Today, many thousands of men and boys are unjustly ground into the dysfunctional criminal justice system. Blindly, the system condemns consensual, loving relationships between younger and older people. NAMBLA's prisoner program, with limited resources, works to provide a modicum of humanity to some of these people. Click here to find out more. NAMBLA is a political, civil rights, and educational organization. We provide factual information and help educate society about the positive and beneficial nature of man-boy love. All right. Anybody else want to puke right now? So yeah. Yeah, this is disgusting. So what we've got is an organization that's been around since 1978. It's almost as old as I am. I'm actually going to read you a little bit of history about this from Wikipedia, and it says events such as Anita Bryant's 1977 Save Our Children campaign and a police raid of a Toronto area newspaper, The Body Politic, for publishing men loving boys loving men, set the stage for the founding of NAMBLA. Now, I don't know if you guys know who Anita Bryant is, but she was Harvey Milk's greatest adversary. I mean, she was the Lex Luthor to his Superman. She was the Joker to his Batman. I mean, this woman was just out to get this guy because he was, well, it was more like he was out to get her because she was trying to completely and totally destroy the credibility of the gay and lesbian lifestyle, of the gay and lesbian community. And Harvey Milk was a crusader and a hero for this community, and he managed to get elected into public office and make a lot of positive differences in the city of San Francisco and in the state of California, which inspired a lot of other activists to gain some sort of leverage and help make the gay and lesbian community, the LGBTQ community, as it's known for today, to be what it is today. Because nowadays, as we all know, it's a very, very accepted lifestyle. It's perfectly fine. And the reason why it's perfectly fine is because it involves consenting adults. Now, I'm the kind of guy that I'm a firm believer in doing whatever you want. I'm a very, very sexually open-minded person. I don't believe in judging anyone based on their sexual based on their sexual desires, as long as nobody gets hurt. As long as it involves consenting adults, frankly. I mean, there's no better way to put it. As a matter of fact, people want to hurt each other to a certain within reason, and you're in consenting adults, knock yourselves out. No pun intended. Have a good time. I don't have an issue with that. I don't think anybody else should have an issue with that either. Whatever you do behind closed doors, behind, in your bedroom, in the privacy of your own bedroom, is your business. It's nobody else's business, and nobody has the right to tell you what to do, as long as it involves consenting adults. I'll go on reading here. In December of 1977, police raided a house in the Boston suburb Revere. 24 men were arrested and indicted on over 100 felony counts of the statutory rape of boys aged 8 to 15. Suffolk County District Attorney Garrett H. Byrne found the men had used drugs and video games to lure the boys into a house, where they photographed them as they engaged in sexual activity. The men were members of a sex ring. Byrne said the arrest was the tip of the iceberg. Commenting on this issue, Boston Magazine described NAMBLA as the most despised group of men in America, which was founded mostly by eccentric, boy-loving leftists. The Boston Boys Committee, a gay rights organization, was formed in response to these events, which they termed the Boston Witch Hunt. Allegedly in order to promote solidarity amongst gay men, saying in an official leaflet that the closet is weak. There is strength in unity and openness. NAMBLA's founding was inspired by this organization. It was co-founded by historian David Thorstad. This guy is, we're going to talk about this guy a little bit too. So this guy, David Thorstad, is the founder of all this. He is he's the pioneer, if you will, of trying to legitimize sexual relationships between men and boys. In 1982, a NAMBLA member was falsely linked to the disappearance of Eaton Potts. Although the accusation was groundless, the negative publicity was disastrous to the organization. NAMBLA published a book, A Witch Hunt Foiled, The FBI versus NAMBLA, which documented these events. In testimony before the United States Senate, NAMBLA was exonerated from criminal activities. It said it is the pedophile with no organized affiliation who is the real threat to children. Mike Eccles, the author of I Know My First Name is Steven, which I'm familiar with this story, infiltrated NAMBLA and recorded his observations in his book, which was published in 1991. Eccles published the names, addresses, and telephone numbers of 80 suspected NAMBLA members on his website, which led to death threats being made to people who were not members of the organization. O'Neill R. Soto, a San Diego Union Tribune writer, wrote in February 2005, law enforcement officials and mental health professionals say that while NAMBLA's membership numbers are small, the group has a dangerous ripple effect through the internet by sanctioning the behavior of those who would abuse children. So, we've got a real problem here. And the fact that people are arguing that this is, people are trying to advocate that this should be somehow normalized. I can't get on board with that, to say the least, to put it mildly. I can't get on board with it. So we've got an issue here that desperately needs attention. Obviously, according to this thing that I just read, it doesn't start and end with NAMBLA. This is just an example of how crazy this whole thing it plays into society. There are people out there, like I said, that feel that this is normal, and they're actually fighting for their rights to be able to have sexual relationships with young boys and girls legitimately. I can't express how morally wrong this is. As I was saying before, when you have a when you have a uh, when you have people who believe that that it's okay to have sexual relationships with children, um, as I said before, I'm okay with people having consensual sex with each other as long as they are consenting adults. Any way you like, that's fine. As long as everyone are involved are consenting adults. The reason why it is not okay, and the fact that I have to clear this up, I just want to be very clear about it. I'm not going to say anything that nobody doesn't already know, but the reason why it's not okay to have these types of relationships with children is because children are not developed yet. They are not mature enough yet to make these types of decisions on their own. Wow, Katrina Katras, thank you very much for that. They are not mature enough to make these decisions. They are not mature enough to decide what to do with their bodies in this fashion. This is something that requires, this is one of those things. This is okay. I'm going to get it. I'm going to go into it like this. To me, our sexuality is a gift. I've said this before on this channel. I've talked about it somewhat on this channel. Our sexuality is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it is the physical act of being able to give one pleasure and receive pleasure from people that we feel close to, people that we care about. And it is designed to do so. Technically, it is designed to do so in order to take joy in procreation. And that is not to say that it is exclusively designed for procreation. Like I said, the fact that we feel physical pleasure from it is a gift. And when we're children, we have not developed the ability to appreciate that gift just yet. This is one of those things. To me, sex is a rite of passage. It is something that once you're an adult, you now are able to without guilt take pleasure in. And that's not to say that a child should feel guilty if they're forced into the situation, because a child cannot make this decision. A child is incapable of making this decision. A child may have these types of feelings, but they don't know why they have these types of feelings. This makes them victims when an adult takes advantage of those feelings in order to pleasure themselves. That is called sexual assault. That is called rape. When anyone does that to another, that is called rape. That is why it's illegal. Just because a child is capable of an erection or secretion, that does not make them ready to engage in sexual acts, because they don't understand what it's for. They don't understand that once you get to a certain age, it's okay to do it, because they can't comprehend as to why. And for an adult to take advantage of a child in that sense makes it rape. So there's no way that you're ever going to justify to me that it's ever okay to do this. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story. When I was 4 years old, um, I lived in this house. I remember my mom, she was still getting on her feet because my father had died when I was a year old. So she managed to she had a friend who had a very nice large house in St. Louis, Missouri. And she was kind enough to take my mom and my brother and myself in. And she was very, very sweet. She was a Scottish lady. Her name was Sandra. Very, very cool. One of my fondest memories of my childhood was with her. And this was during a time where it was okay to kind of just go play outside. As long as you stayed close to home, you could go play outside. Your parents would trust you enough. They teach you, just like they teach you how to ride a bike. They teach you how to follow the safety rules of being outside. Don't get into a stranger's car. Don't talk to strangers. Don't take candy from strangers. Don't do any of these things. Just common sense. Don't go too far from the house. When the lights go on outside is when you come inside. That sort of thing. All these different things. So we lived in a time where people seemed to be more pure-hearted. And this isn't going where you think it's going. But there was this little girl who lived next door. And she had a very large, at least it was to us when we were when we were little kids. She was the same age as me. And she had a rather large dollhouse at the top of the hill in our backyards. We didn't even have fences to separate our properties. And so she had a rather large dollhouse, and I would play with her in this dollhouse. It's one of my very first memories. Apparently, I was doing things at that age. I mean, that same year, I went and saw Kiss with full makeup in concert. It was my first concert. But when I went into this dollhouse to play with her regularly, and we just got curious. And we, were boy and a girl. We both had genitalia. We got curious and we played with each other. But we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know why we were doing it. We just knew that we both had these things, and it was completely and totally innocent. Now, my point of this is, and my point of bringing this up is, when the fact that we were children, of course, if our parents would have caught us doing it, they would have reprimanded us. They would have said, "Hey, you don't do that. You're a child. You cannot do that." But it was curiosity. That's all it was. It was innocent curiosity. We didn't actually do anything like do it. We just had our clothes off and didn't know what we were doing, But I remember, I look back on it and I don't think anything of it. I think, we were practically babies. This is very normal behavior amongst children. With each other, this happens. It's called curiosity. It's called exploration. It's called discovering yourself. But when an adult is aware of a child's curiosity of this form, and they take advantage of it to pleasure themselves, and they manipulate that child and get them to pleasure them, well, that is called assault. Because me and that little girl, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know why we were doing it. It was one of those things where if one of our parents caught us and said something about it, they would have said, "Why did you do that?" We would have genuinely sat there and been like, I don't know. I don't know. Can you imagine Can you possibly imagine how a child feels when an adult takes advantage of that curiosity? When they have no idea, they don't understand, they don't get it. They can't help but feel violated in some way. They can't help but feel confused. They can't help. I mean, that is pure abuse. And to sit there and somehow try to justify it like it's innocent, like you're just as innocent as that child, you get no sympathy from me. You get absolutely no sympathy from me. Whether you're a man or a woman, you get absolutely zero sympathy from me. A child at that age doesn't even know what their sexual orientation is yet. How can they be ready to engage in behavior like this? And then somehow you make it about you. Somehow you have the audacity to sit there and go, well, it's just the same thing as if I'm gay or lesbian. It's the same thing. It's a sexual orientation. No, it's not. It's you victimizing someone else. That's all it is. You could dress it up all you want, but it's you victimizing someone else and then trying to paint yourself out to be a victim of society because society doesn't accept it. You're not a victim of racism. You're not a victim of prejudgment. You're none of these things. You are a predator. And that's another thing. Desert Flower, you're making a good point. You're saying, ew, it's perverted is what it is. That's exactly what it is. The word pervert is just thrown around now. It's thrown around now in consensual adult sexual communities. Like people will say, oh man, I'm a total pervert, and they'll take pride in it. But no, that's not what pervert really means. That's not what pervert really means. What pervert really means is that you take something pure. When something is perverted, that is a verb. When something has been perverted, it means you took something that is meant to be pure and made it disgusting. You twisted it into something disgusting. That is exactly what pedophilia is. Cut and dry, period. That is exactly what it is. Now, question is, what's to be done with these animals? I don't even like calling them animals. I don't even like calling them that. I don't like referring to them as men. I don't like referring to them as human beings, and I don't like calling them animals. You know why I don't like calling them animals? Because generally, an animal's instinct is to protect children. They don't even deserve to be referred to as animals, in my opinion. These are monsters. These are monsters that live among us. And they have the audacity to try to seek protection from the law, to try to come off like they're misunderstood in some way. No, you're not going to sit there and try to confuse us all with smoke and mirrors and try to make yourself out to be just another misunderstood sexual orientation. like homosexuality once was, because it's not the same thing. It's real simple. You got two grown-ups that are like, I'm into this, you're into this, let's do it. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Try to argue with me about that being there being anything wrong with that, and I will shut you the fuck down. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to a child doesn't know what's best for them yet. It is our job. It is our duty, our humane duty as adults to protect our children. And when I say our children, I mean our children, any child within our environment. Any child within our environment. It is our duty to do that. And a lot of people, I'm not unrealistic. A lot of people are like, oh, we should publicly hang these people and blah, 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 blah. No, I still believe in due process. But I'll get to that. Because here's the thing. The slight truth, and I mean slight, the slight truth to the things that they're arguing in defense of themselves is they can't help themselves. This is a desire. This is a need. But so is being a serial killer. We should somehow advocate for them. What you're doing is you're ruining lives. To me, no different. If you are pathologically ruining lives or taking lives, pretty much the same thing as far as I'm concerned. You ever met somebody who was molested as a child and wasn't totally damaged as an adult? I haven't. You know how much work goes into somehow feeling confident in their sexuality? You know how much work goes into being able to put these broken pieces back together so you can celebrate the gift of sex as an adult when it has been shattered for you as a child? Man, I'm going to tell you right now, man. These people have no place in our society. They just don't. They just don't. I don't care what you say. If you think that a serial killer should at least be locked up and taken out of our society, then there's no way you can argue with me on this point. There's just no way. And if you don't think that a serial killer should be punished in any way because they're misunderstood, well, get the fuck out of my chat, because you don't have a place here. There's no way anybody here that has any respect for themselves can relate to you one bit. There's just no way. There's no way. You have no business in our society. You don't have any business in my personal environment. Period. That's it. Plain and simple. But I do acknowledge the fact that they can't help themselves. I do acknowledge the fact that that is a compulsion, something that takes them over, something that they feel they need to have, they need to do. So what's my solution? I don't know. They should definitely be locked up. But here's the thing. When they get locked up, they only serve a certain amount of time. They don't get put away for life like a killer does. Somebody who murders one person in cold blood, they get put away for life. They say there's no way this person has a place in our society. There's nothing that they can contribute to our society. There's nothing they can do. Can't be done. Nothing to help them whatsoever. Right? Look at Edmund Kemper. Edmund Kemper, known as the co-ed killer, murdered women, decapitated them, had sex with their heads. Right? And then to boot, had sex, killed his mother, and then had sex with her head, and then put her head up on a mantle, threw darts at it. And then went and called the cops on himself, turned him in. Calm as a Hindu cow. Totally chill. Right? And you know what? You know what Edmund Kemper does now from prison? Right? Now, I agree that he has no business in our society. This is a man who openly admits, I have no business amongst you people in your society. I'm going to do this again if you let me out. I'm built like a monster. I am that guy. That's who I am. You cannot put me in, amongst women. I'm going to hurt them and I'm going to kill them because I can't stop myself. So you know what he does now while he's in prison? He makes coffee mugs. He makes coffee mugs. And he does voiceover for audiobooks for the visually impaired. Now, if this man, and he's, by the way, he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. Probably one of the smartest people alive. But, and the epitome of self-awareness. I mean, this is a guy that you're going to tell me that, I'll tell you you're an idiot. If you're going to tell me that if this man was not a brutal, violent murderer, serial murderer, if he was not, he would probably have done something in our society that was absolutely groundbreakingly fantastic. But unfortunately, he's too much of a danger to our society. So we take him out. He took himself out. Probably would have never got caught if he was smarter than anybody. Probably would have never got caught had he not turned himself in. Right? So I mean, when it comes to child molesters, rapists, well, like I said, this is a compulsion. This is a compulsion that they'll probably never, ever stop. They'll never quit. It'll never, ever stop. But if you take every child molester and a rapist and put them in prison for the rest of your lives, well, the taxes that you're paying now, get ready for them to skyrocket. You're going to be taking care of these people for the rest of your life. You're going to be working your ass off, getting taxed up the yin yang to make sure that these guys have 3 hots and a cot. Can you imagine all of them in prison for life? So the other solution is chemical castration. Do I support chemical castration for rapists and child molesters? Oh, indeed. Without a shadow of a doubt. You don't get to have sex. You don't respect what it's for. You don't get to be amongst those of us who do. Period. Period. That's how I feel about it. Nah, see, that's not gonna. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, thank you for posting that link. That girl. I started to before I actually read it. But no, that girl. I really appreciate you posting that link. Yeah. If anybody here is a victim of sexual assault currently, and are afraid to speak out, I highly encourage you. And I understand that it's hard. If you're an adult and you're a victim of sexual assault, I realize that it's got to be so difficult. The fear that you have has got to be so difficult. You're afraid to actually have to look at this person again in a courtroom. You're afraid to actually have to relive it in a police report, in a statement. I get all that. I get all that. But I urge you, and you have the right to do what you want. You're the victim. But I urge you, for the sake of getting that person off the streets and get them and them getting what's coming to them when they go into prison, and for the sake of making sure that nobody else has to go through what you went through, I urge you to please muster up the bravery if you can. Call somebody, let somebody know, and do your part, whatever you can, to get them off the street. I know it's easier said than done. I do understand that. But please strongly consider it. Now, having said that about a grown woman, imagine what that's like for a scared child. Imagine what that's like for a child who's so young that after they watch a scary movie, they have to run from their doorway and jump to their bed because they have this fear in the back of their mind that something is going to grab them from under their bed. That completely and totally irrational fear. Can you imagine a child with that kind of fear? With that kind of lack of rationality? What it's like for them to be afraid of someone that's actually in their life, who's smarter than them, wiser than them, more experienced, can outwit them. You're never ever going to justify that shit to me, man. You're never ever going to justify that to me. Now, one thing that I find that's just as bad, that another reason I've talked about what it does to children. I think I've covered that. I think we all understand that. I don't want to have to harp on it for too long. But another thing that really pisses me off about these type of people is there's so many of them out there, and it's such a problem that now you can't even like hang out with kids anymore on an innocent level. Everybody thinks that you would be a child molester if you did these days. It's messed up. You can't even look at a kid, with admiration and actually appreciate their innocence. You can't even do that anymore. Because these predators are such a problem that those of us who aren't predators have to be afraid. I think kids are awesome. I think kids are fantastic. They're the coolest people in the world. And the reason why they're the coolest people in the world is because they remind us of what it was like to be completely and totally innocent. Every bad decision they make is out of pure curiosity. They don't know that they could actually potentially hurt someone with their decision. They don't understand this yet. So whatever they do is cute, you know? But you can't even give a kid an innocent hug anymore. You can't do that because of these pieces of shit. So that actually brings me to a video that I got here. I got a video here that I'm going to share with you guys. This one's not going to get us kicked off. I hope not. This is another one of our friend Misery's Karen videos that I came across today. As we all love Misery as much as we do. And thank you to him for providing us with these videos. And he does say to like and share these videos. So if I can get one of my moderators while I'm playing this video to please go to that Karen link and actually I'll do it while I'm playing the video. But I'll drop the link for the Karen videos and you guys like and share the videos, please, if you can, and support our friend Misery. And I'm going to play one of them here. And this is an example of what I'm talking about, as a matter of fact. So give me 1 second here. Let me set this up.
Setting up a new board, and I'm giving my old board and my old wheels to these kids, and these people are saying that we're pedophiles for giving the kids free stuff to skate, and they're calling the police on us because he gave them a free pair of shoes, and I gave them some stickers and some free gear. They're saying thank you because they're psyched on the free stuff. And you guys are calling the police and calling us pedophiles. I'm a pedophile for giving kids new stuff to skate. I'm giving them shit to skate because I haven't. And now that makes me a pedophile. What are you talking? You've never skateboarded a day in your life. Have you ever been to the skate park? I'm here every day. I grew up skating here. When you skateboard and the older people skate, they have shitty stuff. I'm giving them free stuff for free. Okay, do I look like a pedophile? If I was a pedophile, why would I sit right here with my trunk open with you right here? I'm about to go skate. What are you talking about? I'm giving them stuff to skate. I'm a professional.
All right, I'm going to start this over. So we've got a Karen here who sees a professional skateboarder who is giving back to his community. He goes to a skate park and he feels this is a guy who feels genuine gratitude for getting to make a living. And I don't know which pro skater this is, but this is not uncommon amongst pro skaters. This is not uncommon amongst the cool guys that are pro skaters, because what they do is they go and they visit, they end up being sponsored by like Vans and all these different skateboard companies and things of that nature. And they get sponsored by all these big companies. And what they do is they go to these, they'll go to different skate parks and they'll just remember what it was like to be young. When I was a kid, I wasn't a skater, but I grew up with skaters. I hung out with skaters. We we had a good time, and we kept to ourselves and we minded our own business. That's not to say that a few of us didn't break the law from time to time, but hanging out and just skating was something that kept everyone out of trouble. And so, and it's something that you love to do, and you practice day in, day night, day in, day out, and you fall down, you hurt yourself, and if you break your ankle or your wrist trying to learn how to do a trick, the only thing that you're upset about is not the fact that you're hurt, but the fact that you're going to have to go a period of time not being able to do what you love because you love doing it that much. You love doing it that much. And so when you get to do it professionally, you want to give something back. You know, these guys get to a point and they're like, man, look at these kids just doing their thing, man. You know what? This guy says, you know what? I bought some new wheels for my board, and I'm going to go and I'm going to give my old ones out. I got stuff to give out these kids. Tony Hawk does this all the time. He'll go with just whenever he's in some different town, he'll find the skate park and he'll go and he'll skate with them, and then he'll give them merch. He'll just give it out. You know, I mean, what better thing than giving back to your community? So this Karen comes along. She comes along, and you know what she does? She accuses him of grooming. She accuses him of grooming, of coming out and giving kids gifts in order to get them to get their guards down so that he can you know what I mean. And it's disgusting. You know, you can't even do something nice anymore because there are people who really go out there and do the stuff that this lady's accusing this poor guy of.
Setting up a new board, and I'm giving my old board and my old wheels to these kids, and these people are saying that we're pedophiles for giving the kids free stuff to skate, and they're calling the police on us because he gave them a free pair of shoes, and I gave them some stickers and some free gear. They're saying thank you because they're fighting.
Look at these kids. Look at these kids. They're out there with their helmets on. They're doing their thing. They're being responsible, staying out of trouble, having a good time, and they're grateful. They're like, yo, we don't know what's going on with this lady. There's always somebody like this. When I was a kid, there was always some Karen that showed up and would call the cops on everybody because she just didn't like to see a bunch of kids having fun. It was noisy, you know. They're walking their dog through the park, and then they see kids playing on their skateboards, trying to get good at something. And they're not sitting at home vegging out in front of a TV. They're just out there doing something that they take interest in, and they want to do something really, really good with themselves, and they want to get good at it. And then there's always some asshole that comes along and just doesn't like the sight of it and then wants to call the cops on them. But this is a lady who thinks that she's protecting these kids. This is a lady that doesn't understand that it's also okay to support them in some way. It's also okay to actually encourage them in some way. Since when is encouragement grooming?
Like on the free stuff, and you guys are calling the police and calling us pedophiles. I'm a pedophile for giving kids new stuff to skate. I'm giving them shit to skate because I haven't. And now that makes me a pedophile. What are you talking? You've never skateboarded a day in your life. Have you ever been to the skate park?
I wish this guy had a better way of explaining himself, man. I wish that it's obvious that he's emotional. It's obviously he feels attacked. It's obviously he has to be very careful about anything he says because he's being accused of being a pedophile. You know, I mean, luckily he pulls out his phone. The smart thing to do is pull out his phone and record the incident, so that if he, God forbid, he gets charged with something, this is his defense. This is his evidence. And they're calling the cops on this guy.
When you skateboard and the older people skate, they have shitty stuff. I'm giving them free stuff for free. Okay, do I look like a pedophile? If I was a pedophile, why would I sit right here with my trunk open with you right here about to go skate? What are you talking about? I'm giving them stuff to skate. I'm a professional skateboarder. I have free shit. I'm just giving it to them. No, they don't. You guys sound insane. You guys sound insane. You sound ridiculous. Yeah, go for it. I'm not. They're literally saying thank you. And I'm skateboarding. It doesn't matter. Okay, who cares?
I do.
They don't have to even stay on the same board.
Like a little earlier, man, you see this kid like so excited to get decent wheels for his skateboard, and he's screwing them on like totally with enthusiasm, because he's scared that if the cops come or something, he's gonna have to give them back because he probably can't afford good wheels. These are kids that will beg their parents, or do whatever, cut grass, do whatever they got to do to be able to afford, because stuff for your skateboard, decent stuff for your skateboard, man, it costs money. It costs a good chunk of change, man, to get decent wheels, decent trucks, a decent deck.
Oh my god, you guys are crazy. Did you guys feel uncomfortable by me giving you shit? Did that make you feel weird? No. Because you guys don't take
This guy, did I make you feel weird, like in any way? Like you saw that the other kid was helping him get the trucks up, get the wheels on, I mean, that's crazy to me. That's crazy.
You guys don't skate. You guys don't understand. I'm not a pedophile. You're calling me a pedophile because I'm giving kids fucking shit. I'm giving back to the community. Okay, that's cool. But I'm not a pedophile. I'm giving back to the community.
That's your defense? That's what pedophiles do. How do I know you're not a pedophile? Well, how the fuck do you know that he is? What are you talking about, lady?
Okay, that's awesome, but you can talk to me. You don't have to call the police on me and call me a pedophile.
He's simply asking her to be reasonable. Why can't you see the good in what I'm trying to do?
Yes, I did. What do you mean I'm grooming them? You sound fucking crazy. What do you mean? I didn't. They came up to me. They came up to me. Yes, they did. And I was like, yo, do you guys want some wheels? I just put on new.
They came up to him. You know what that tells me? That this guy is one of their heroes. He's a pro skater. They probably collect Thrasher magazines, which is really funny to me, by the way. I got to point that out. Now, the cool thing to do and is go to the mall and buy Thrasher t-shirts. They don't even know what Thrasher is. When I was a kid, Thrasher magazine was a skate magazine. It profiled pro skaters. You could learn about them. You get to know these guys are heroes to these kids, and they're idols. So what this guy does is he feels so grateful that kids look up to him. He wants to give something back. He wants to do something cool for them. He wants to make that experience so cool for them. In his mind, he pulls up, and then kids are like, "Yo, I can't believe it's him. Look, wow." And he's thinking, wow, I got an opportunity here. I can give them stickers. I can give them my old wheels. I could do all this cool stuff for them. Right? I mean, that's incredible to me. This guy obviously has a really, really good heart, and he's being accused of being an awful, disgusting human being.
New wheels, and I gave them my old wheels. I put on a new board, and I gave my old board. They came up to me, and I gave them my old shit.
And this lady's not listening to these kids at all. These kids are totally coming up to his defense, saying, we approached him. We said, hey, what's up? You know, and she's looking at them like, oh, you're victims and you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what's going on. And they're all like, lady, you don't know what the hell's going on. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay, that's cool. Okay, awesome. They're not fucking little ass kids. I've known that thing for 4 months. I mean, they're calling me a pedophile because I gave them a new board and some wheels. I've known that. This is skate culture. You have no idea what you're talking about. They're not strangers. They're not just like, what are you talking about? I've known them for 4 months. They're not skate here every day. I've known them for 4 months. Not a pedophile. Skate around with you if you don't want them over here. That are not really not know what's going on. You're saying that anyone can be a pedophile. You can be a pedophile. I understand what you're saying, but you don't even come and talk to me. You just call me a pedophile and call the police. No, you called me a pedophile. You didn't even come and talk to me. Why are you talking to me? Like, dude.
Be sure to subscribe, like, and share this video on all social media platforms, making Karens go viral one video at a time. With peace and love, peace and motherfucking love, baby.
Again, thanks to Misery for posting these videos that we all enjoy so much. Make sure to like and subscribe to his Karen meme channel, Karen memes. So I'm gonna drop that link one more time here, guys, and make sure to like and subscribe to his channel. Hopefully we'll be seeing Misery do some live streams soon. Yeah, how messed up is it that somebody can't even show kids yeah, exactly, Caleb. Asking if he's a pedophile is not the same as accusing him as a pedophile. It's absolutely reckless. It is the same thing. I know that's what you're saying by that comment there. It's absolutely and totally reckless to go. I mean, if you ask me if I'm a pedophile, I'm going to get defensive. You know, I'm the opposite. I want to encourage kids. And because I want to encourage kids because they're doing something positive with themselves, that means I'm grooming them? What in the fuck are you talking about, lady? So, hey, Doodle, I'm glad you made it. What, Copper, you changed your name again. Heimdall's Cooter? Okay. All right. It's good to see you, though. How you doing? Oh, good night, Nancy Eileen. Appreciate you coming in. Yeah. Yeah, Devil Mike, man. Same here, you know. I mean, that's the thing is, you're saying where I live, if you shouted someone was a pedo in the street, they would just get totally wrecked, and that's why it has to go to the police, because what if they get it wrong? Exactly. People, there are people who fantasize about hurting pedophiles. There are people who fantasize about it. I've done it. You know what I'm saying? And there are people who are totally irrational right now. Right now, there's an entire culture of people who are acting irrationally, and they're destroying their cities. So, I mean, it's not. You're going to tell me it's not hard to believe that if somebody were to shout out and point a finger at somebody who's a pedophile, that somebody's not going to act irrational? What if that person's armed and then they kill an innocent person who's actually just trying to encourage kids to do something positive with themselves because somebody accused them of grooming them? I have patience for that kind of shit, man. Yes, Lufa, we're all aware of your misanthropy. Then some of you were saying, Will, that's not a word. Misanthropy, that's not a word. Well, it's a word because I just used it and you know exactly what I meant by it. And look at me, I'm a damn Webster's dictionary. It's a word. Anyway, but I love you, Lufa. Let's see. Karen is projecting what could be and not what has been. So all her accusations and statements are unfounded. I'm a police. I guess you're saying you're of the opinion that the police should never have been involved. And that's the thing. I'm confident that once the police came out, it was all cleared up. They don't have any evidence that this guy's a pedophile. It's clear that this woman was just being reckless. And, I'm sure no harm was done in the long run in the grand scheme of things, but that's not the point. The point is one of these citizens could have totally hurt this guy. I mean, I don't know, man. Now because of these disgusting predators, those of us who are good, that actually appreciate the value that a kid with positive intentions to do things positive with themselves, we're afraid to actually encourage them because we might be accused of hurting them in some way. That is extremely dangerous to the future of our society. So yeah, we need to get rid of this problem. We need to solve this problem. Now, I realize you're not going to abolish it, but it needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed. People need these type of predators need to be so afraid of the rest of us that they don't have the audacity to act on their impulses. That's my opinion. Guys, I'm going to call it a night. I really appreciate you guys joining me. Thank you so much. I love you guys very much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends. Very, very soon.